talk about something that's transforming the way 300 million Indonesians handle money. No, it's not crypto. It's not Apple Pay. It's not even some Silicon Valley unicorn. It's Qris, Qris, Quick Response Code Indonesia Standard. And trust me, it's not just another fintech buzzword. It's a revolution. A quiet, elegant revolution that did not need billions in venture capital, flashy press releases, or Elon Musk's endorsement. Just a good idea rolled out with purpose and scale. Launched in 2019 by Bank Indonesia, Qris wasn't built for hype. It was built for inclusion. Indonesia had a fragmented digital payment system. Every wallet, every bank had its own QR code. That meant more friction, more confusion, less adoption. Qris unified that mess. It created a single QR code standard that all banks and e-wallets could use. One code to rule them all. Simple, interoperable, and insanely scalable. And the rollout? Game-changing. From traditional markets in Yogyakarta to street vendors in Medan, everyone can now accept cashless payments without EDC machines, monthly fees, or complex onboarding. Just a smartphone and a printout. Oh, by the way, Bank Indonesia doesn't sponsor this video. Nobody does. I just want to make this video because, let's be honest, Qris democratized cashless payments in a way that Visa and Mastercard never even attempted. Why? Because those two were not built for small businesses. They were built for profit extraction, not economic inclusion. Qris flipped that model. It empowered the bottom 99%. And now that Indonesia is building its own financial rails, suddenly, we're hearing complaints from Washington. The US Trade Representative's 2025 report came out recently, and guess who's on another list? Indonesia. Why? Because of QR codes. The report calls out Qris as a barrier to market access, a threat to fair competition, a reason to slap tariffs on our exports. Why? Because Qris reduces reliance on Visa and Mastercard. And it's not just us. India's UPay system? Flag. Brazil's PIX? Mentioned. Vietnam, South Korea, even China, all on the list. Why? Because they too built national digital payment systems that prioritize local efficiency over global dependency. This is not just about Indonesia, it's about a wave of financial independence rising across the global south. Countries are choosing to build their own rails, own standards, own ecosystems. And suddenly, the US sees it not as progress, but as a problem. Which, if we were being honest, is kind of the point. Let's decode this. When the US says Qris is unfair to foreign providers, what they really mean is we cannot take a cut anymore, and we don't like that. Think about it. Qris allows direct peer-to-peer payments. It doesn't need an American intermediary. It doesn't charge a 3% fee to your warung. It doesn't lock your economy into a US-dominated system. And that's a threat. Not to the consumers, not to innovation, but to a pair of American payment giants whose business model depends on taking a slice of every transaction on the planet. Now let's be fair, Qris has its flaws. It's not perfect. Some merchants still don't know how to register, offline areas struggle with signal strength, refunds are not always seamless, and sometimes different apps interpret Qris inconsistently. But these are bugs, not design flaws. They're fixable, and they're being improved faster than legacy systems that have had decades of building and still charge outrageous fees for cross-border transactions. The benefits of Qris massively outweigh the shortcomings. We're talking about micro merchants gaining access to digital payments for the first time ever. We're talking about millions of Indonesians now participating in formal financial system that they've never done before. That's not a fintech success. That's a policy triumph. But here's the hypocrisy. The US preaches free markets, or they used to do that. Yet, the second developing countries build something that works, something that levels the playing field, they call it a threat to trade. And let's be real. Global tech platforms have long played pivotal roles in shaping the digital economy. They've set the bar for innovation, efficiency, and scale. But when countries like Indonesia start building our own systems, like Qris or UPI or PIX that prioritize local needs over global margins, suddenly the rules change. What used to be applauded as disruption becomes labeled a barrier. What used to be innovation is now flagged as unfair competition. Strange how that works. Here's the truth they won't say out loud. If every country built a Qris of its own, Visa and Mastercard would lose their relevance. And that's the nightmare scenario for them. Because suddenly, developing nations are not just markets to be harvested. They're competitors. So now we're being told to adjust our system to make it more inclusive to foreign firms. Let me ask you, why should Indonesia compromise the most successful digital payment infrastructure it's ever built just to keep the Americans and the Wall Street happy? It's like asking us to tear up our own road because Ford or Cybertrucks want to sell more vehicles. Doesn't make sense. Qris is not just a tool, it's a statement, a declaration that we can build for ourselves, that we can design systems tailored to our people, not some global financial agenda. To our government, don't give in, don't trade Qris for tariff relief, stand your ground. To the Indonesian people, every time you scan that QR code, you're taking a small stand for independence, for sovereignty, for fairness on your own terms. And to Visa and Mastercard, if a piece of printed paper and a local app scare you this much, maybe it's time for you to stop lobbying nonsense and start innovating.